Thank you, Valeria, for joining me this morning. Today, we're going to talk about the Community Conversations, the Pandemic Perspective, New Jersey's COVID-19 Storytelling Project. I have a series of questions that I will ask you. Please provide as much information as you would like. If there are any questions at any time that you are not comfortable answering, you may skip on those questions. So our first question is, how has COVID-19 affected you, your family, and or your community?
Oh my God. Well, personally, I think that it affected in the sense that I was in disbelief at the very beginning. And then suddenly I was just hit by the fact that it was not a 2 weeks issue, that it would, it would not pass as fast as we thought. Then, of course, it affected me because we lost our jobs, because we didn't know what would happen. And then we came back to our jobs slowly. That also opened, the possibility of working in other things and figure out how to keep moving with your life, because it was like a parenthesis, but you still have a family, you still have to eat, you still have to pay a mortgage. So that was... it was a slap in my face, like you cannot take for granted that you have what you have. But at the same time, it was a push to figure out how to, resilience. Resilience is the word, what do I have to do? So, yeah, that was hard. The other portion was my family, which I have 4 kids. For us was an opportunity to regroup. The kids loved having breakfast at 11 and mom being home preparing, pancakes or whatever. My daughter was doing virtual high school, so I had to crawl in her room and so the camera wouldn't see me, and give her lunch or her, breakfast or whatever. So she was laughing at that. We definitely came together somehow as a family, but at the same time, I know that it was a struggle for them socially because their relationships had to be reshaped. My daughter lost one of her best friends lost his father, very early in the process. Was March. He got it and he was healthy, so my daughter was extremely scared. She didn't want to get off in the supermarket, not even with the mask. She just stayed home for months, afraid of it. So that was difficult because they don't know how to process, and they are just starting their lives. Well, I don't know. It was a time for us also to reflect, to figure out how to keep connected with our staff. I was, texting and emailing from my personal email and trying to keep the relationships moving no matter what. And I think it was a great effort from all of us. I don't think it's over. And I'm still afraid, and I think the kids are still afraid. My daughter is traveling, and she said, I'm not taking a plane. I'm driving because I don't want to get in a plane in Christmas with all these, things coming back. So, yeah, I think that it left a fear on us, and also an idea that you cannot take for granted what you have, your health, right, your financials, your relationships, and so.
Yeah. So have you been vaccinated for the COVID-19?
Since the very beginning, yes. Okay. I got the 2 vaccines and the 2 boosters, and even the last one, as soon as it came out, I think it was the first week, we got the shot because, the fears that I see around about, if I get pregnant and so on, we are not in that category anymore. So I was more like I need to be healthy, and we are here, my work, we are in touch with many people, cancer survivors, seniors, kids, and you want to be sure that, to make sure that you were not bringing that to anyone. So, yeah.
So what was that experience like from, making your first appointment to receiving it, and even, all the other boosters and vaccines that you received? What was that experience like?
It was at the very beginning for the vaccine. My supervisor helped us finding the appointments, which was great because I was on top of her. Find a spot for me, find a spot for me, and she did help me and my partner. So as soon as she got the spot, we signed for it and everything was super smooth. I mean, we went, we got it, and that was it. And then the rest of them were easier. I didn't have to go through help me finding a spot. I just booked a spot in the pharmacy and I got it. And it was extremely easy. I mean, perfect.
Great. So, who or where did you go for your information about COVID-19, the COVID-19 vaccine, and what sources did you trust?
Oh my God. Well, first, the referral. I trust my supervisor because I know that she searched a lot about what needs to be done or not. I think we read a lot. Not that much social media, but we move in a environment that is health and wellness. So, I had people when COVID started. I also I was working on my master's in exercise and psychology, not exercise science. That was the other one. So I had a couple of connections and professors, and from them I got the information that it was safe to take it, and also from my doctors. So yeah, we didn't
Great.
get COVID at all. We were very much into wearing masks and all that stuff. So we got COVID after we were boosted and everything, but not before. So 2020 was okay. I think that it was 2021 after we had everything and 2 boosters that we got it. Yeah.
So, is it easy to get the COVID? Was it easy to get it in your community? And if not, what do you think would make it easier? You talked about it being a little difficult in the beginning. Why do you think that was, and what could they do to make it easier next time?
Well, I think at the very beginning, the effort was to vaccinate the minorities that were in risk. So that's why it was harder to get an appointment. That was it. But after that passed, and also I don't think there were that many vaccines available, so they were saving those for those that could die from getting COVID. But after that, there was no issue at all. It was perfect. So I think that was the thing. And I mean, you cannot. How can you improve that? Well, I guess that at this point, there have to be enough vaccines available for everybody. I know they have to go through the testing for the kids to see if it's safe, and it takes takes a long time because you don't know what are the effects, long term. But I also think that or either you can die from it, so it's better to take the risk and make sure that you're okay. But at the same time, I understand, the feelings of being afraid of what could happen later. I mean,
Right.
I know that, and I know that for the Lifton program, that there are many cancer survivors right now that they got cancer because 50 years ago, their mothers couldn't get pregnant, and there was this, injection, whatever treatment that was, I think, based on estrogens, and the mothers were able to get pregnant, but now the result was that many women, they develop cancer. So how can not be afraid about it,
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
How do you think that the state or local organizations could contribute so more people had confidence in or access to the vaccine?
Well, I think that in everything, I mean, the biggest issue is how to communicate the resources. Communications is a problem, and education is the other one. So we have so many resources, not only for COVID, for many things. And the problem is that we have the resources, they are there, but you are not being able to communicate to the minorities that are in need and say, hey, you don't have someone to bring you to the program. There is this organization that will take care of this. They don't know it. I know there is right now this, it has been for a while, 211 that you can call, and then they give you all the resources. They are like the communicators or the connectors for those resources. And I think that that's great, but who knows about 211? Not that many people. And do they want to make a phone call? Do they want to, get into an email? I don't know how to put that available for everybody. So I think that that's the main issue. And then once you have the resources, you get educated, you understand, and then you take a wiser decision. But if you don't know, you don't do it.
Yeah. So you touched a little bit on what the next question was asking was, how do you think the state and local health departments could have improved their communication and message out about the vaccine? So you talked about the 211. How can you get that information out? You mentioned the minorities. If this was to happen again, or even just going forth with like any additional boosters or vaccines that are available, what can that communication and messages look like?
Yeah, so I think that, again, identifying who could be a connector. I love that role too. I think that I love when someone calls and says, we need this. And then I can say, oh, let me connect you with this person. And this person will. So it's not me giving the solution. It's me connecting that person. So I would start first from having the information ready and ready to go to everybody, minorities, it doesn't matter. You have to have information in Spanish, in English, in other languages, having everything ready and simple, something that someone can understand, because that's the other thing. You don't know the level of, knowledge that the informant, the person that is going to get the information is going to have. And so anyway, so have the information ready, the connections ready, and then identify who could be a connector, which organization could serve as a connection. Is the YMCA the one that can connect the community to all these resources? Is the recreation department? We have to work all together. And I think that that's a big issue, because again, otherwise the resources stay stuck in one place and no one knows. And that goes with mental health, which is a big issue, and it's a consequence of, or at least where we are right now, from what happened with COVID, so yeah, I think that's for me good.
Great. So you talked about having those conversations with your supervisor, your professors and stuff about the COVID vaccine. Did you have an opportunity to talk to a healthcare provider about the vaccine? And if you did, what did that conversation look like?
You know what? I don't remember because I was I'm taking a period. I don't think I had the conversation after, because I got COVID and I had to have the conversation and say, I got boosted. How is it that, and I got it some sort of heavy, despite the fact that I got everything that I needed. So, what do I do? I mean, what do I do with this? And then I got the fear of being still fragile to the virus, because I got it with the boosters. But I think that having the illness gave me a lot of protection for a long time, even maybe up to now. So I feel more confident. But that's not the case for everybody. I know people that had COVID twice.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I don't think, and I should have the time to research better, but I trust my people that I have around me. My partner is very resourceful. And so if he says, I think we should get it, I'm in for it, Yeah. So, or my supervisor, as I said. So,
yeah. So do you think that all of the communities, when you look at New Jersey, Do you think all of the communities in New Jersey have been given equal access or information about the vaccine or to the vaccine? If not, who do you think was left out?
Of course not. It's not who is left out. It's about equity. It's not about sharing the information. It's that not everybody has the same level of access to it. So, of course not. If you don't have a laptop, if you don't have a TV, if you don't have if you don't have the means, if you don't speak the language, there are so many barriers that of course, I think no.
Yeah. No. All right. So, last question: is there any? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry, is that I think that it's not only that, but that COVID became it was politicized, and that's a problem. So where the information was manipulated, in that way. So you have a bunch of people that have the wrong information because they are pro or contra of, the government or not. And that's a big issue because it shouldn't be. Health is for everybody, no matter what. So that's sad, very sad.
All right. Is there anything else that you'd like to share that we have not been able to touch upon? And this information will go to the Department of Health. So,
yeah. So when all this thing happened, and as I said, we lost our jobs, and I got 10 hours, and then 20 hours I was working part-time. And I just decided to help, and I became a contact tracer. And that was an amazing experience. To see the infrastructure that was moving all of this group of people. And it was helpful because of financial, but it was also helpful because of the information that I was getting. So if you were asking me about the information I was getting, that was a lot of resource, because I had to learn what was COVID, how it was spread, the groups and the individuals, and how to connect and how to make a net of connections to prevent people from getting COVID, right? And I regret that at the moment I got my full-time job and so on, I offer doing it as a part-time job because I thought it was needed. At that time, it was really needed. And they reject me. They said it had to be a full-time job, and I was coming back to my full-time job. And that was a pity because everybody can help, right? And I wanted to do a couple of hours, half of it, even if I had to use my weekends doing that. And they didn't allow that. So, but yeah, so that was a great opportunity. Yeah.